Hello, my name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and today we are going to be talking about a TikTok trend that's been going around for a while now, the office siren trend. Yep, and I'm not talking about a fire drill. Damn, I didn't even write that one down. I came off of that right off the dome. Wow. The office siren is a fashion trend where women are basically saying, listen, I can do my job well and serve country minus the tree. Right? That's something I'm capable of. That's why I put great at multitasking on my resume. This aesthetic has a very specific look to it, often including pencil skirts, fitted button-ups or blouses, power suits or blazers, neat makeup, and of course a chic pair of glasses. The style is very inspired by the 90s and 2000s corporate culture. The looks are honestly cute as fuck. Right? So I would love to wear some of these outfits if I worked in an office. I wish I could wear office. I guess I could. I could, you know, the next time I sit down to yap or play Roblox, I really could wear office siren. I could have worn it today. Here, next time I play Roblox, I'll wear office siren attire. And I know what some people might think. They're thinking, hey, here comes another YouTuber with a convoluted think piece about a TikTok trend that doesn't really matter, right? And I actually got a comment the other day that was like, hey, does it ever get tiring being so pissed off all the time? Huh? What? Listen, trust and believe that I'm not getting high blood pressure over knockoff Miu Miu glasses, okay? In fact, the only reason I'd be getting high blood pressure is because I wish I had them so bad. In the grand scheme of things, I understand that sometimes a trend is just a trend to a lot of people, and that's fine. But I also think that fashion is very interesting, and sometimes it can be indicative of other things in society and have other effects on women, even if it's, you know, not super overt. And honestly, if you think hard enough about anything, you can make it into a reflection of society, right? Fun little challenge there. Next time you go out with a group of people, point out their clothing choices and make a PowerPoint talking about how it relates to late-stage capitalism. That'll guarantee your invite to the next girls' brunch. Anyways, with all of that being said, before we dig a little deeper into the trend, I want to start with the first part of this video, in defense of the office siren. My first point. It's not illegal to want to feel pretty at work and have fun. Right? It's not a crime to be cute and clocked in at the same time. When I was in the traditional job market, and some of you guys might know this, I also used to be a full-time nurse along with the YouTube and acting stuff, right? When I was working as a nurse, you wear a uniform, obviously. So I didn't get a chance to, you know, toy with self-expression in the workplace. In this context, that's probably for the best. I mean, if your nurse walked in a pencil skirt and a tight Y2K buttoned up blouse, you'd probably think to yourself, ma'am, do you maybe want to change before you wipe the tar-like shit from me bumhole? Like, you know what? I guess you could try to give CPR in a kitten heel, but do you want to? Oh God, I think I'm having a heart attack. Where's my nurse? Don't worry, I'm coming. Oh God, it really hurts. Coming. And of course, this can also translate to the traditional 9-to-5 office space as well. Amanda, I need you to come take a look at these files. Yes, right away, sir. Although I did kind of like wearing a uniform because it takes the decision-making away from you. Like, oh, I don't have to think, what do I have to wear tomorrow? Because, baby, I think we know. It starts with scruh and ends with ubs. But there definitely is something fun to me about being able to still wear cute clothes in a structured workplace, right? Being able to still accessorize and express your fashion sense. I've never really thought of myself as a fashion girly just because I think my presence online is so comedic and personality based, but I do really enjoy fashion, and in my day-to-day life I really like to wear my outfits with intent, right? And I think that if I worked a 9-to-5, I could see myself repping some aspects of the office siren look. Because I don't know if you guys can relate, but for me there is merit in the look good, feel good ideology, right? Obviously, as a YouTuber, I do try to put a little bit of effort in because this would be broadcast to, well, hundreds of thousands of people. Hopefully this video does well. But even in a more traditional physical workspace, I think that's still true for some people, right? And now, obviously, we should be getting our work done no matter what. I'm gonna do what I need to do, whether I feel like a supermodel or whether I feel like a Sasquatch that just got ran over by a speeding 18-wheeler, okay? But sometimes when you're wearing a cute outfit, your makeup looks good, it's a good hair day, you're feeling confident, right? That can put a little extra pep in your step. You might be a little bit more enthused. I'm not saying that looking cute at work has a direct correlation to productivity, but I'm not exactly not saying that. I think for some people, that might be the case. I asked you to send out those timely emails to our 15 partners before the product launch. Right? Yeah. And you only sent one email, and that was to me saying, LOLK. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I know that you've been having some trouble keeping up with your tasks lately. Yeah? Yes. So I am going to have to enforce an individualized company-mandated dress code. Okay, I want you to change into these clothes. I think it's what's best for the company. Okay. Good morning! Oh my god! What? That was fast?
Yes! I color-coded all of the files that you put on my desk this morning. Got $50,000 more in funding for the product launch event. Got Gordon Ramsay to cater, and then I also got custody back of your children. And here's a coffee.
My kid, wait, what? What? You did all of this in the bathroom while you were changing?
Yep, and it was my pleasure. Look good, feel good, work even better. Thanks, Office Sirens.
Hi, Mom. We get to live with you now.
Oh my god. Another point in defense of the Office Siren is that a lot of these women aren't actually repping these looks in the workplace. There is a Reddit post discussing the Office Siren aesthetic where someone asked, do people actually wear Office Siren outfits to work? I'm about to start my first corporate office job, but I'm wondering if I could actually get away with dressing like this. I need to build a new work wardrobe anyway. And here are some of the responses. Depends. Is your job to be the female lead in a Korean office-based romance drama? In which case, yes. Otherwise, no. I work in GovTech, this would be a no-go. Some of the dresses and blouses are fine, but they need to be a respectable length. Dress code is important. Sorry, that's just how I imagine someone who works in government tech. No. And I work in fashion too, where there is a lot of freedom. Mostly this reads as very young and too trendy for me. This board was definitely put together by someone who has never worked an office job. Haha. I've seen it, and it's usually younger women starting out thinking this is how you're meant to dress. I don't have a problem with that, but I have an issue with the fact that they've clearly bought their fits from Shein and Temu and they look highly flammable. Now, of course, some women are actually dressing like this in the office, hence why this is even a topic of discussion. But a lot of these women, they're dressing like this for TikTok or Instagram, not to climb the corporate ladder. You know, these are fashion influencers who are cosplaying a 9-to-5 or, you know, trying to be in the reboot of Devil Wears Prada. The sleek and chic corporate wear is a fashion statement that is sometimes used solely for the aesthetic. You know, you see it in high fashion, brand campaigns, and other areas that aren't supposed to be actually representative of the real corporate world. And you see this all the time in fashion, right? You know, for example, I have a race car leather jacket. I've never stepped foot in a race car. The closest I've ever got to that was maybe going 10 over the speed limit in my Honda Civic. Or, you know, sometimes I wear jerseys for fashion reasons, not because I've recently thrown or caught a ball. So for a lot of people, including in regards to this trend, fashion can just be fashion, right? Obviously, there can be underlying reasons for every trend and stuff like that, but on an individual to individual basis, I think a lot of people pick the outfits that they want to wear on the basis of just wanting to look cute or at the very least presentable. So, where are we stationed at? What? Come on, son. You know what I mean. I'm a girl. Whatever. I don't really believe in that whole pronoun thing. Girl is one of the classic ones. You're not familiar? My point is, a vet recognizes another vet. Oh, no, I'm not a vet. I hate animals. I have PETA blocked on, like, everything. No, I mean, like, a veteran. Oh my god, what? Ew. Like, war? What do you mean? You're wearing camo. Oh, I mean, yeah, but I'm just wearing it for fashion. It's like trendy right now. I thought it looked cute.
What?
Yeah.
What is cute about warfare and PTSD?
Literally nothing. That's why I didn't go into the army.
What in God's... So you're just wearing it for fashion then?
Yeah. You know that we're in Brooklyn, right? Also, when I make my topical videos, I try not to watch any other YouTubers' content about the same stuff just so that I can, like, have my own ideas and not get caught up on whether I'm said something accidentally that someone else said or whatever. I would, you know, ignorance is bliss, that sort of thing. But I did watch a bit of a video from another YouTuber, Briony Claire. So I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your first name. Bryony Claire. And she mentioned a good point that I didn't think about, right? During the pandemic, everyone was working from home and taking their meetings from home and not being in front of other people. Guys, I'm sorry if you hear dogs barking. I politely asked my neighbors to put them down, didn't really budge, so I apologize if you hear barking in the background. But the point is, if your job didn't require you to have your camera on, oh baby, trust and believe that shit was off. I mean, unless you were a bootlicker, or you were trying to get a promotion, your camera was probably off, right? So most of the time when you were clocked in, your outfit was, well, abysmal. Because let's face it, no one was putting a lot of effort into their looks during that time.
Get ready with me and see my outfit routine for my work from home job while we wait for COVID to pass. I'm sure it won't be too long. The first thing I do is wake up, and then I turn to my side. Hi guys, good morning. How's everyone doing? Okay, great. And that's it.
So while most people don't actually want to be in office, I think that the office siren, in a way, might be Gen Z's way of making the most of, you know, needing to be in office because the big boss man said so, right? If I have to be there, at least can I slay just a little bit, please? Because if there's one thing about Gen Z, they hate going to work. They are the I hate going to work, fuck that job generation, right? So it's like, if you're really gonna make me do this, can I please have a little bit of cunt? But how do we slay and remain professional? Right? And that is our next topic of discussion. Now, some people might be thinking, you superficial vixens, why are you caring so much about what you look like when you go to work? Shouldn't you be caring about the files on that desk or the email that needs to be responded to, right? And here's the thing. Obviously, first and foremost, your work ethic is going to be the most important thing when it comes to your job. But it would be naive to say that how you look doesn't matter, especially in regards to women. Sorry I had to put my hair up because it's getting quite hot. But while I am one for self-expression, whether that be through your clothing style or your makeup, it is still true that in the workplace there's a certain etiquette that has to be met. And that's not only for you to follow the rules and avoid having a meeting with HR, that's for people to just take you seriously in general. And there can be a tricky balance for women because obviously it helps to be attractive, but you don't want to come off as too attractive that it's distracting towards your male coworkers who, you know, would get a boner from looking at a squash if it was curvy enough. You have to be put together while not trying too hard, and you have to not fall flat and look like you're not putting enough effort in. You know, you can't show up to work like it's a Zoom meeting in the springtime of 2020. And to achieve this balance of looking nice and professional and finding clothes that flatter you but only in a work appropriate way, I mean, this becomes much harder for bigger women, for curvier women, for Black women who also have to account for their hair due to, you know, workplace racism and etc. It is worth mentioning that the office siren aesthetic is almost exclusively represented by slender bodies. And while some of these looks are considered inappropriate on them, if you were to take these same exact outfits and put them on curvier bodies, you know, bodies that have bigger boobs or butts and hips and, you know, all of the like, there would be even less leeway for gauging the appropriateness of these outfits. When talking about the struggle of, you know, trying to keep this balance of professionality and expressing your individuality, these difficulties are tenfold for bigger women, for curvier women, because I mean, even outside of work clothes, they just have less clothing options in general. If the higher ups were to grant some sort of grace for the, you know, appropriateness of these office siren outfits, I'm sure body type plays a role in making that decision.
Dan!
Ooh, good morning. Hello. Sorry. But that shirt is way too low cut. All right, I feel like I'm visiting the Grand Canyon. You know what I mean?
What?
Oh, when I say the Grand Canyon, I'm referencing your cleavage because you have giant tits.
Oh.
You know. Or, sorry, this is the workplace. Breasts.
Right. I guess I'll go change then.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm sorry, me and Jan are basically wearing the same shirt. Should I also go change, or?
Oh, no. No, you're fine. You don't need to go to HR.
Oh, okay. Can I ask why?
Well, your tits aren't nearly as big as Jan's, so I'm not gonna ask you to put the food away if the plate is empty. You know what I mean?
You know, I think I am gonna go to HR.
Why? You don't have to.
Well,
We all know that there's been a history of gender-based discrimination in the workplace, and women have consistently been having to pull out all of the stops to even get a seat on the table. And this can include how you present yourself. So when people strive for the office siren aesthetic in an actual office environment, we know that how you look, it does ultimately matter, unfortunately. So it can be an attempt at optimizing professionality with aesthetics. Mind you, I said attempt. And this venture can't really hurt you if you're doing it right. And you can do it right. But also, if you're drawing your inspiration from, you know, fashion TikTokers or Pinterest boards that were made by 15-year-olds, you know, just people who haven't actually been in a corporate environment, in HR's eyes, you're probably doing a little too much. There's also been discussion on whether or not this trend not only fails to be professional, but also plays into the sort of hot secretary fetish, sexualization of women in the workplace. Although many of us have come a long way in regards to feminism, trust and believe we have some stragglers, right? But we all know that women are still objectified and sexualized, right? And the patriarchy is alive and well, okay? Not even close to being on the ventilator. It's still kicking. In fact, some people are trying to give it steroids. So at times it can feel like anything and everything we do could benefit the male gaze, right? And then we kind of have to police ourselves and figure out a way to navigate that, which seems a little bit unfair. You know, it's like, why can't all of the bad men just be blind? However, with all of that being said, I know that a lot of women don't consciously dress for men, of course, but when it comes to the office siren trend, I mean, it's pretty clear that there's at least a tad teeny bit of sexuality in there, right? I mean, let's not kid ourselves. For example, in this article from Vogue that mentions the office siren trend, they state that despite the illusion of choice, it would be naive to believe that the office siren is exempt from falling victim to the patriarchy. The trend's oversexed ethos may aim to empower people, mainly young women, who wear it. But the idea of employing sexuality in a workplace is not exactly the act of authority that many young people think it is. A lot of the office siren looks are super sexualized, and it plays out some kind of fantasy about hooking up with your boss or being the hot girl at work, Sundberg says. The people who are doing this trend, ironically, probably realize that it's generally harmless, especially if we're talking about people who have never stepped foot in the office, because they wouldn't really have any sense of how women were sexualized in that environment, Alioto adds. But you certainly don't need to be a woman in an office to be sexualized professionally. And this is interesting to me because I think the way that they are describing the sexualization of women in a traditional office, I think I get that feeling of kind of being like, oh, that's like interesting for you to do that when people dress up as sexy nurses, right? Because when I was a nurse, yes, I definitely was sexualized by my patients and by, you know, it's generally a female profession. You get a lot of creepy people saying harassment things to you. So yeah, I think that sentiment I found really interesting because it's like, even though when people wear, you know, sexy nurse costumes and this or that, it's just supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be this or that. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong, but it does make me feel like odd, I guess. The article goes on, when it comes to these trends that rely on exaggerations of femininity, regardless of what end of the spectrum they sit on, it's hard to say whether women are truly harnessing their sexual agency through clothing choices. But as long as we live in a world that continues to erode women's rights to their own bodies, decisions that are made largely by men, we never really had the power to begin with. And while I think a lot of women wouldn't openly say that they are dressing in the office siren aesthetic for male validation, I mean, male validation is so ubiquitous in everybody's lives that it would make sense if maybe a part of you was, right? I don't think that, I'm not going to take away your feminist card for that. I mean, I would say that I've decentered men pretty heavily in my life, probably the most that a woman can, if I'm being honest, right? But I still know and understand that the way that I dress and the things that I think flatter me and whatnot still have ties to the male gaze, even if I'm not trying to directly please them. And it's pretty clear that there is a sort of subtle sexiness to this look that, of course, is going to appeal to the male gaze. What appeals more to the male gaze than a sexy woman, you know? So that seems to be essential for the office siren look. And that's only emphasized when we look at, you know, the women who have been sort of pushing this trend forward, right? All very attractive, young, slim women, right? And trust and believe that is kind of the demographic that's pushing most fashion trends forward, right? I mean, if you got enough skinny girls to wear, you know, roadkill intestines as mini scarves, I'm sure it would become a trend. And this doesn't mean that if you have worn an office siren-esque outfit to work that you are asking for harassment or asking to be hit on and all of these things, right? You know, I'm not saying that if you wear that type of outfit, you should also wear a neon sign around your neck that says, "Make me uncomfortable." But I think at the end of the day, there should be room for understanding that women should have, you know, autonomy in how they express themselves, fashion-wise, makeup-wise, whatever. But also, you're at work. It is work. And I think sometimes getting so caught up in, you know, whether what you choose to wear or how you do your hair or do your makeup, all these things, am I contributing to the patriarchy? Am I contributing to the male gaze? Honestly, anything does. Anything does. So policing yourself in that way, I wouldn't be, I mean, I don't concern myself with it, right? But just in regards to work, it's like, I mean, baby, you don't want to get fired. Ultimately, a lot of these outfits look great. You guys look gorgeous, stunning, right? But save it for the For You page. You don't have to bring it into the cubicle because I'm just thinking about you, right? In this economy, baby, you cannot afford to be reprimanded. Because while it would be nice to live in a world where women could wear whatever they wanted to work, unfortunately, that's, well, not our reality. Here at Office Company Brand Business Incorporated, we care about our employees' individuality. And that is why we completely got rid of our dress code to encourage our employees, friends, to dress however they want. So let's check in on them and see how they're doing. Morning! Good morning! I love your outfit! Oh, thank you! I love yours! Thank you! Whoops! I dropped my pen, sorry. Oh! Is that a butt plug? Oh yeah, I've just been playing around with accessorizing, you know. I bought it from Paris. Oh, okay, j'adore. And your hat, I mean, I am obsessica alba. Where did you get it? You know, I'm not entirely sure, but I am positive that it was unethically sourced. Cheers. But my butt plug, though, was very, very ethical. It's made out of recycled materials, so. Hey, hi guys, hi. I'm sorry, I didn't know that we were gonna be doing all of this, right? I thought maybe at the most we'd get some fun earrings or like a bold lip, right? So we are gonna start enforcing the dress code again. Aww. Okay. Hi, yeah, so it turns out I think we were too lenient. Something else I've noticed about the office siren is that people tend to just throw around that term for any outfit that's deemed inappropriate for work. For example, there was a recent supposed TikTok comment that got a lot of people talking, and, you know, I'm not gonna harp on this too much because, you know, at the end of the day, it was just a comment on a TikTok post that was about the trend.
Office siren? Office siren? Oh, this outfit is so office siren core. Bitch! You're an walking HR violation.
Essentially, someone said that they knew someone who lost their internship and was fired because of the outfit that they were wearing. And this internship would have led them into a 6-figure salary job. So obviously that's like a huge loss, right? And people were referring to this girl as dressing as an office siren, and the outfit in question was a tube top and leather skirt. And honestly, I did some digging. I think that this was just made up, right? I think someone might have just made up a story, but nonetheless, it sparked discussion. A lot of discussion.
The office siren aesthetic. I'm sure by now we have all seen that girl lost her $200,000 a year internship over her office siren inspired outfit.
People trying to dress up as office sirens and then coming on TikTok saying that they're getting fired is actually so hilarious, because it's just like, girl, no, you don't have, like, that's not what work is for.
How to dress like an office siren without getting sent to HR. So apparently this has been a topic of discussion.
Any office siren I've seen is just a girl with a long pencil skirt that reach her knees and the button down. So where the tube top come from? To be real, for a 6-figure job, I would dress like I'm Amish. So I don't know why she decided to wear a tube top to work. That's dumb. Regardless of where you work at, you can't wear no damn tube top to work. Girl, what are you doing?
And honestly, whether or not this actually happened, I'm kind of just like, whatever. What I'm more focused on is the fact that people were describing a tube top and leather skirt, leather mini skirt, mind you, as office siren attire. Baby, that's not an office siren. That's spring break in Miami. She was not dressed as an office siren. She was getting ready to go to the Jersey Shore. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like someone could come into work wearing a tankini, boxers, and a rat tail on their head, and someone would be like, oh, she's trying to be an office siren. Is she? Let's just remember that the aesthetic we've been discussing, it does strive to have at least some sort of inspiration from corporate culture, right? This phrase isn't to describe just, you know, outfits that are inappropriate for work and not inspired by, you know, the workplace aesthetic at all.
I'll eat shit and choke on it.
How's it going?
These fucking 12-year-olds wouldn't know fashion if it hit them in the face. And I don't even care if that's child abuse.
Okay, that's a totally normal thing for an adult to say.
The theme is office siren. And I clearly did the look to a T, but they're still sending me mean messages in the chat.
Okay, well, let me see it. Sorry. Girl.
What? This is not office siren. But no one should be wearing this to work.
I guess. I mean, what the hell? Sure. But this is not what that—
Oh, kill yourself!
Sorry, I was talking to Butterfly Lover 17. So anyways, I hope you all enjoy this little dive into this trend. Comment down below, have you ever gotten in trouble with HR? Could be because of how you were dressed, could be because of a verbal or physical altercation. Let me know. But okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you can all maintain the balance between professionalism and slay, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time.
Hi, Mom. We get to live with you now.
Oh my god. Oh my god, what? Ew.